Well, can he? He can.
Yes,
He's
he
gonna show you today. This is the Big Finish at Lincoln Lodge. We're about to get it on the show. So come on, everybody, and get the show on the road.
Let's get it on the road.
Hello, and welcome to the Big Finish. Today we are here with, of course, my lovely co-host Jamie Schreiner.
Hi.
And me, the other lovely co-host Becca Kenny. But we also have a very special guest who has been on this podcast before, whether or not you know. Becca Nix Tham. Hello, Becca. How are you?
Good.
Good. We just, you were in the room. We recorded 2 episodes today for maybe one of our heaviest podcasts to date. And then we spent most of the time speaking with our producer in the interim about the Holocaust. So it's been a very heavy lead up to this podcast. How you feeling?
Good. You know, I think it's good to talk about tough topics, but
Absolutely.
hopefully this will be just a tad lighter.
Yeah, we'll have a little bit of a
I
silly
think-
fun time, this one.
It'd be hard for it not to be lighter. We'd really have to. I'm like, what subject can we like talk about now to make it darker at this point?
At this point, yeah, we've gone pretty dark. I do want to hear, so what is like the one thing this weekend that you're like, oh, that was really great? Like, I guess like the highlight of the weekend.
Rose and
Oh, yeah.
Thorn.
Highlight of the weekend. Well, I think, the rain sucks, but I watched Jury Duty on like Amazon
So
Prime.
funny.
Oh, the one where they like prank the guy?
Yeah, they have one guy, they call him like the hero, and he thinks it's just a regular jury duty situation, but they're all actors, and they even like create a set filled with like hidden cameras.
Yeah.
It felt like very inspired by like Eric Andre and like
Yeah.
Nathan Fielder.
Yes,
and
yes.
it was really interesting because like the guy was like a genuinely very good person, so everything that they threw at him, he was just like, oh, it's okay, and like don't worry about it. Like, yeah, there's like this won't ruin anything, but there's a guy who like got broken up with his girlfriend because like he got drunk and he like broke up with the girlfriend, didn't mean to break up with the girlfriend on the phone, and then he's like, can you just talk to my girlfriend, tell me that I was, and tell her that I was drunk, and I usually don't get drunk and I didn't mean to say that. And then the girlfriend's like, I'm done forever like with him, tell him that. And then the guy is like, so what did she say? And then he's like, she just sounds mad. She just sounds mad.
That is insane.
So that shows just like a little bit of like what it is. It's so good. Yeah,
I can't wait to watch it. Is it all out now, or is it like
yeah, it's
coming
all
on?
out now, and I don't want to ruin any of it because it really is
quite good.
just a great piece of comedy.
Yeah, I love this kind of new genre of comedy that is like, it's like I don't know, like an updated prank show of like a psychological prank show. And Jamie was talking to me in the car ride about your friend.
I was going to chime in really quickly. So there's a very, very great comedian, Ben Palmer. He's Palmer Trolls on the internet. And I can't say too much about it because it's like he's currently in the process of getting it released. But basically, long story short, he for a long time has been like making different Facebook accounts and Instagram accounts and like pretending to be other organizations and like trolling them on the internet. But he's now gone into like getting like interviews with pyramid scheme style companies and like and recording the Zoom interviews and like trolling them. And he basically was able to like troll a very I feel bad because I don't know how much I'm allowed to say, but like he trolled somebody that's like a very prominent figure and like got it all on film and like had them do like the Sacha Baron Cohen freaking
Sacha Baron Cohen's the other big one.
Yeah, but like he basically used like Sacha Baron Cohen's like template of like the kind of contracts you need people to sign to like get away with the filming them and like the parodying, and like got this person to sign all these contracts and has all this amazing footage and basically is talking to lawyers right now and trying to do what needs to be done to make it fully public. But until that happens, has been presenting this at his live shows all over the country. And so like I happened to go to his show at Zany's, and I'd seen him before, I'd seen his routine, but I hadn't seen this new, probably like 30 minutes of just the lead up and the whole story of him, like the whole ride of him, like this person reaching out to him, them talking on the phone, them talking on Zoom, him like going and meeting this guy. And like, it's like scary because when the guy finds out it's a prank, he like gets a little bit violent and like then tries to go to the police and say that like Ben assaulted him. And I'm like, LO fucking L, like no fucking way is, like, and they like literally they're like, we have the footage, you can watch it. And the police watch the footage and they're like, oh, do you want to press charges against him? And he's like, no, I just want to go home. Like, because the whole time they were literally just trying to leave, and the guy's like blocking the door and like pushing them and like, was saying like, if you ever release any of this, I'm gonna sue you. So that's why it's like a lot of it is he can't release any of it publicly, like online or like on a like on TV network or anything, until they kind of like talk to lawyers a bit more. But it's very similar to what like Sacha Baron Cohen does. And yeah, I was just amazed because it's like I know he had done the other stuff, but I didn't know that any of that had happened. And he's like a friend of mine, so I remember I was like, I had no idea this was all going on. He's like, I can't really talk about it, but it was like so funny. And I think that there's like there's such an element of like like people acting and like reading lines from a script is so funny, but like that component of like on jury duty, the one guy who like organically is like the funniest part is him just being like, I think she's just mad. Like, and that's just his honest reaction to the situation at hand.
Well, I think I saw too, Mecky Leopard. I just looked up and now he's the one who does the jury duty. He's like a stand-up comedian who goes to the Laugh Factory sometime. Mecky Leaper, maybe I'm saying that. But he also had like the Control Room, which was a show where he like made a fake alternative medicine company. But have you guys ever seen The Push on Netflix?
No, I've never seen that one. Your face.
Okay, this is a documentary, and it's not a comedy documentary, but during the documentary, they create all these very specific scenarios to get this one guy to, at the end, push a guy off a building to kill them. And they did it with like 6 people, I think, and all but like one pushed the guy off the building when it came down to it. And like it was all fake, so they thought that like they were killing the person. And like the whole thing was just like them asking him to do like minor things that like are wrong, and just like it escalating and escalating and escalating. And
was it like a documentary about like psychology?
Yes, it was like kind of like what does it take, I think, to like kill somebody, and like how is it like that you could like convince somebody to do this, like it was that kind of thing. I think that like especially Nathan For You is like just like it's so revealing about people in like such a cool way for comedy.
Yeah, I think it's the kind of thing too where it's like I think we all like to think about what we would do in situations like that, but you just don't know. Like I don't think I've told you this yet, but I was telling Becca and Christine before when you were in the bathroom. Part of me thought I was getting punked last night because I was doing my set at the show, and halfway into my set, a woman rushed the stage and she's like, "Kiss me," and I was like, and she's like, "Kiss me," and I was like, "No, you look like you're 12," because she was like very young. She was a college student, and I still like I don't know how to feel about the whole thing. I felt like I was being trolled so hard. And I feel like any interaction that's like slightly different now, I'm like, is this just like a weird interaction?
Like, is this a prank show? Is someone trying to do like a TikTok prank?
Yeah, no, TikTok pranks, honestly though, I wonder to this day if that was a TikTok prank. I'm like, that was, I mean, it's literally been one day. So of course, to this day, I wonder. It's
to this day, I wonder.
To this day, and it's been exactly one day.
Do you guys watch What Would You Do?
Oh yeah, like I watch it on YouTube sometimes.
Yeah. I
love the host. He's such like a nice guy, and he's like, just the way he presents like the things is very fun. But yeah, if you want to explain. I
think everyone kind of knows what Would You Do is, but like they just put you in all these situations like where like you're like at a restaurant and like there's this like guy and he's trying to get this like little kid to come with him, like, and then you're like you're like, oh my God, is somebody gonna like get up and like stop them? And then typically somebody does.
Yeah.
I think maybe it's easier to get somebody to do something bad though than to stop someone from doing something good, if that makes sense. I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess I don't know what I'm thinking. I feel like on What Would You Do, they do have people who step in most of the time.
Yeah.
Although you don't know, because you don't know how many times they ran this scenario and people didn't do anything. Or sometimes they tell you.
Yeah, like I've seen some episodes where, like, for example, if it's at a restaurant and there's like a couple fighting or something, and then after the whole scenario runs out, then they go and like ask the table nearby and they're like, hey, why didn't you do anything about like this abusive husband or something? Like, why didn't you say anything? And they're like, well, it's not really my business. And then they're like, oh, okay. Like I see the restaurant scenes a little bit more, like they don't really like get as involved, but sometimes they do, and and it's
I feel like it all comes down to like, and as messed up as it is, it's the closeness between the two like actors. Like if it's like a husband and a wife fighting, it's gonna be different than it's like if there's two people there that are maybe like there's one that I watched where it was like a girl and two guys at the bar, and the girl goes to the bathroom and the guys like roofie her. And so the people at the bar, they were like, literally the girl got up, she's like, no, and she took the drink and like threw it away. And then the girl came back and she's like, these are not your friends, like you're gonna sit with us now. They tried to roofie you, you're gonna sit with us now. And so it was like, there's only one couple that I saw didn't do anything on that one, and them I was like,
that is true in terms
that one's
of like,
so flagrantly like you have to intervene when you
because
see
like
that.
if you see like a kid, I also feel like an adult is going to be more likely to step in if a kid's involved than like talk to like an adult woman who like maybe is in a situation, because but that is really interesting, the closeness of people, because I feel like also domestic, like, okay, we were like, how do we make this episode dark? How do we make this episode incredibly dark as well? But like with domestic like abuse and stuff, it's a really hard situation to navigate, and like,
oh my God, yes.
You don't know like what you're supposed to say to the person to like help them without like maybe being like cut out or like making the situation worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you and I have talked in the past, like outside of the podcast as friends, the fact that like when you know somebody who's in a situation like that, like all you can really do is be supportive and hope that they like come to the conclusion to walk away from that themselves. Because it's like, if you say too much against that other party who's the abusive one, like, yeah, it's like you said, you can get cut out very quickly, because that abuser will lead them to believe that like you're the bad guy, you're misunderstanding them, when it's like, no, you just see what it is. It's kind of like what we were talking about too with like a pizza without marinara sauce on it. You can look at it and be like, oh, but like it's not a pizza. It's not a pizza.
What makes something a pizza, I guess, is the question at the end of the day. Because it's, I guess now this is like the new, like, is a hot dog a sandwich of it all?
Yes. What makes a pizza a pizza?
What makes a pizza a pizza? And like, to me, it is bread, marinara, and cheese.
Yeah.
Like, that's what makes a pizza a pizza. And when the marinara component is lost, that can become hard for me. That can become very difficult. What's everyone's favorite pizza?
Ooh. Well, I do like a good Blaze pizza because they just have everything. And good. So I'll do like half marinara, half pesto, because I do like pesto. Controversial, I know.
I know after Jamie said she would literally kill the next person who said
no, I was gonna say, I feel like I'm chaotic and bisexual because you said pesto on pizza, and I was like, oh, actually, that's really good. Like, pesto is really good.
Yeah.
I think that here's my thing. There's pizza, and then there's specialty pizza. And so if you put the word specialty in front of pizza, not give me anything. Macaroni and cheese.
You go specialty pizza. You go. This is our specialty pizza. It's a burger.
literally. You put specialty in front of pizza, anything.
Yeah.
It's like, I feel like you could do a quesadilla. It's a specialty pizza.
When I was a kid, we would put like mac and cheese in tacos, like at one of my friends' houses, And I remember being like, we need to sell this to Taco Bell. Like, we need to get in the pitch room ASAP. They need to hear this. They need to hear this immediately. It
Wait,
didn't
did you
ever
put
pan
like
out.
avocado in it too?
Or was it just mac and cheese?
It was just
tortilla?
it was like just like a crunchy taco with like meat, like cheese, lettuce, mac and cheese, and maybe like it was like a very simple like the kind of like taco you eat like I don't know. It feels like very much like we have some hamburger left. What are we gonna do with this? That kind of a taco situation.
Yes.
Which is the tacos I grew up with, and I didn't really realize I liked tacos until moving to the city and tasting like
actual
I feel like
tacos.
high quality tacos. You know.
Yeah, true.
What was your like most beloved, but now you're like that's kind of gross childhood food, like something that you ate as a kid that you loved, but now as an adult you're like, oh, that was not it.
I think like Nutella, like anything with Nutella, which Nutella is delicious. Don't get me wrong, but it's just like a chocolate spread.
I know.
So having that as like lunch, like is not a lunch.
Yeah.
Like I remember making a Nutella sandwich. I'm like, yeah, I'm really proud of myself. I made a sandwich, and it's like just chocolate sandwich. But I mean, it's good for a treat. Like I think Nutella shakes are great, but like if that's the whole meal, like you gotta have some nutrition.
Absolutely, you gotta have some nutrition. So Becca, where are you from originally?
Yeah, I am. Well, so long story short, I was born in Singapore. Like,
I didn't even know that.
Yeah. As an American citizen, my dad's family is from there. But both your parents have to be Singaporean citizens for you to be born one. So I was born an expat.
Really? So if to be born in Singapore, both of your parents have to be
Singaporean.
That's insane. If your dad could your dad become a Singapore citizen and then?
So he has like triple citizenship. I think he was like Singaporean, Malaysian, and American.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, but so I was born there, and then I grew up though from like 5 to 18, whatever, in the Chicago suburbs. So,
okay, gotcha. Which suburb?
Palatine.
What's your least favorite and favorite Chicago suburb?
I'm
gonna force you to throw one under the bus.
I think least favorite probably like Schaumburg, because the mall there, just like I used to work at that mall at the Macy's, and it was just like the worst people would show up, and it was just like not fun. And I guess I said the best it has to be like, I think like Evanston is pretty damn good.
I do love Evanston.
Yeah, they have really good food there, and it's close enough to the city where you can just take the train into the city. So I think that's great.
Yeah, that is good. Those are good picks. What like brought you into like music, and then did music come first and then comedy come later?
Yes. So I started playing piano when I was 5. Just a little tiny keys for little tiny fingies. And then I started doing speech team.
You did speech. I'm sure we've discussed this at some point because that's unavoidable. With me. What events did you do again?
I did HDA and OC, and
you did OC,
and I also did radio too. Yeah,
radio is the most memeable event in speech. I crack up at the event radio so hard.
Yeah. I didn't do so hot in radio because I would always get nervous because so you're like in a separate room from the judge, and they're like listening to you with headphones, and you have like your paper out, and you have to like read it exact and like within the time limit.
Yes.
So there's just so much going on that I think I never really did well with that. But I did go to state for HDA.
Oh,
hey, yeah.
Hey, what was the piece?
Bar Mitzvah Boy.
Bar Mitzvah Boy. Yes.
Oh, yeah, I love that.
I do remember Bar Mitzvah Boy. What year did you go to HDA's? Do you remember? What year did you graduate high school?
So I graduated in 2013.
Oh, okay. So you were a little bit
Ooh-la-la.
before my time. We might have been like. When did I if I graduated in 2017, would I have been around for 2013?
You graduated high school in 2017?
Yeah.
I literally want to vomit. I feel so fucking old. I think I was out of I was out of my master's in 2017. Oh my. You said 2013 and I felt old, and then you said 2017 and I was like, put me in a casket. I'm dead.
I graduated college in 2017, so.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay, then no, we wouldn't have ever like intersected in terms of I went to state in HD. I was like maybe I saw you. I was like all of a sudden I was like did I ever see Becca in speech ever? But it's involved. So that was the year that Jabuki won.
So I just missed Jabuki, but I met Jabuki in Chicago, and
I met Jabuki in Chicago too, and I was I was like, I want to see it state too.
Yeah.
I then later felt super embarrassed that I told him that.
No, I mean, I feel like it's good to be proud of yourself.
Yeah.
And, and it's also speech team people, we connect like theater people do.
Yeah, it is true.
It is kind of like a kinship of sorts.
What were your OCs about?
Oh my god.
Were you ever in a camp?
So embarrassed. I didn't go to speech camp, but I
meant, did you? So many OCs for a long time were all about being in a camp.
Oh, like in a camp.
Like they're like, I feel like a camp director is like a easy, it's an easy way to make like a bunch of characters and stuff.
Like that was part of the plot.
Yeah.
So I've always been like a cat person. So I had one where I was like cat sitting cats for an old lady, and then the cats start talking, and then I have to like deal with that, and then I don't remember how it ends, but there was like a Russian blue cat, and I would do like a Russian accent, for that.
Yes.
So that one was fun. Judges didn't like it. They were like, why is this child making cats talk? Very strange.
They don't get it.
They're not imaginative. They don't have an imaginative bone in their fucking bodies. You're ahead of your time. Okay, what was the other one?
The one I did senior year was like touring a college with my dad, and
present.
But it was kind of like interesting because I was doing like an Asian accent for my dad, but my dad has like a very different Asian accent because Singaporeans, like, they know how to speak English, and they speak like a British English. So in actuality, he sounds kind of like British, with the Singaporean twang in there. But so I did like a stereotypical Asian accent. I mean, kind of not the best.
There, at least my sophomore year OC, 100% I did offensive shit in that. It was like super popular, I feel like, to do like accents and stereotypes in a way that I like definitely would not stand behind today. I don't feel as bad because I was in high school. You know what I mean?
It was also like our coaches and the judges were all like 2 generations older than us. Yeah. So because of that, they're looking at different things of what they think is funny, and then what we think is funny is like different as well. So you kind of have to meet in the middle, and in order to like succeed like in speech team, like
definitely.
You kind of have to like be like, okay, what do the judges want and what do I want, and then kind of like meeting in the middle there. But touring a college, and then like I didn't get very far with OC. I think I was like so I was a procrastinator, so for that, like, it was just hard for me to like do all the work myself almost. And like, even though my coach really helped me, and like I really learned a lot like about writing in general, like from that time, I think like stand up is like a lot easier than like writing an 8-minute play
completely and doing like all the characters yourself. It was super I did there was a speech camp in my hometown, and I like luckily had that, because otherwise I don't know how I would have been able to do that well in OC, like having without having that like person to force me and like guide me on the structure. I did learn a lot though. I did college speech for a second, which college speech feels very much like hat on a hat a little bit, where it's like very technical, and like to the point where I feel like a lot of people wouldn't even understand the performances maybe, like a good performance. But like I did learn so many good skills from speech. And from speech, then you went to college.
So I went to Urbana-Champaign and UIC.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Great.
Yeah, I transferred schools, and so that's where I started doing improv and stand up.
Slay.
Yeah, and sketch as well. And so doing that, and then
if you had to choose between improv, sketch, and stand up, which one would be like your?
We do fuck, marry, kill.
Oh yeah, that's perfect.
Sorry.
Actually, we'll
Fuck,
all
marry-
do fuck, marry, kill for improv, sketch, and stand up.
Okay.
Even though I don't have as much experience with sketch and improv, but
damn, kill improv, 'cause improv auditions suck, and it's just not. I hate that that's a thing in Chicago for like a lot of different things. And I think probably fuck sketch and then marry stand up, because I just feel like stand up there's more like individual growth, and then like sketch is fun with the right people, but then if you're like fucking the wrong person, then you're like, this sucks. So I'm glad this will end.
I would say so. Mine is marry stand up. I love stand up, and it's it's different. Okay, if let's say I'm talking about watching, like what I would prefer to watch. I think I would marry sketch, fuck stand up, and kill improv.
Yeah.
But in terms of performing, just because I think sketch, the process is so hard and it takes like a lot of coordination sometimes, that's frustrating. And so that's actually something that I could work on, is like collaborating and like through sketch. And I would love to get into sketch and improv without having to go to classes. You know what I mean? But I think I would fuck improv and kill sketch, because I enjoy doing improv so much, just not necessarily watching it.
Yeah. I think I would be kind of similar to you in terms of, for watching, marry sketch, fuck stand up, kill improv. When it comes to watching,
if you're really, if all the people on stage are really great at improv, it can be a great improv show. That's rare though. I feel like.
Well, and I guess so. Then for me, like performing, it's marry stand up, fuck sketch, kill improv. Why am I killing improv twice? I think any improv show that I've gone to see that I've enjoyed, there's an element of sketch. There's an element of sketch to every good improv show I've seen. A show that's literally just improv, I'm not watching it, honey. I'm not doing it. It's not for me. And because the thing is, it's like, the thing with improv is like, improv is it's building a relationship between a team that's going to collaborate together. I don't feel like we're supposed to watch it.
You know,
I really don't think we're supposed to watch it. I think it's supposed to be something that you do to like build a thing.
You know, I will say that
sorry, improvisers.
In the past years, or maybe this was over a year ago, I saw Gag Reflex. They were on a show with me. Do you know Gag Reflex?
They are very good.
They are really good. I was really impressed with like the show they put on, and then it made me want to do improv.
I was gonna say, honestly, Gag Reflex, you're the only exception to what I just said. when I said we're not supposed to watch improv, we are supposed to watch you. But I'm just talking about like in general.
I love how me saying that after you talking about how improv sucks kind of accidentally tied that comment to that, but that's not what I was trying to be like. Well, this is good.
They also do sketch.
They also do sketch.
Their brain works with both, and what you're saying.
I think that
good improv with sketch elements.
Sketch and improv are like so like tight. I feel like because like you're like good improv shows like require sketch elements, and I totally agree with that. But I also feel like good sketch shows take cues from improv and like you like it's a lot of it is developed through improv. I feel like I don't know, it's interesting.
Well, and I think that honestly I feel like sketch is such a glue for the other two as well, because I feel like, I mean, when I think of this style of what I do, I think I'm definitely taking stuff from sketch. Even though I'm on stage by myself, I think that like elements of like doing a song or like it being more performative is giving sketch, whereas improv, like crowd work in stand-up, that's improv.
Have you ever had a like sketch that you had that like you were able to turn into like a a stand-up bit or vice versa, or like one that you tried to like, or like a stand-up bit that you're like you later realized was a sketch or something, like, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, no, for sure. Like, so like when I'll sometimes do characters like in my stand-up, and so having like a character where you like set it up like a story and then you like go into a character, I think is good. Like kind of I for a little bit I was doing like Bruce Lee doing stand up as like a thing.
Oh hell
and
yeah!
So
that would be fun.
Yeah, and like it's a very physical thing. You know, I'm just like kicking and trying to like punch the air like really fast and be like I'm gonna break a world record again. Like, but like so I did that for like a Second City audition for when they asked for like a 1-minute monologue or character, right? So like molding that into a sketch is like very easy because I'm like I already have this character, or a character from like a story which is like a real person, and then it's easy to kind of change it into like a sketch. But like I have a sketch that I wrote with the Jewish Comedy Project that is like the first like AI Jewish robot.
Oh my God.
So like what would happen if like a Megan, was actually like a Jewish robot, and like and you ask it like, hey, what's 5,000 times 273? And they're like, what do I look like? A calculator? Like, go find a calculator. And you're like, oh, that's the smartest answer that you can ask a robot. Great. Or be answered by a robot. But yeah, so, and then thinking of that, like turning that into a stand-up bit, like it could work, but it when it's more of the scene elements, it just feels better.
Right,
so like
right.
just knowing that like some places like just having multiple characters all reacting. Yeah. Whereas like in stand-up, you're the person just like playing everything, in telling like a story like that, or like setting up a premise, I guess. But
I'm always really amazed by like stand-up comedians who, and I don't think there are honestly that many, who like are really easily able to like transition into characters like through their set and make it feel natural, because that's something that I feel like that I would like to do, like more like act outs and characters and stuff, but so I have a hard time like creating like a framing for it,
Yeah, like I think like one act out I've been doing recently is like the nice fuck boy. Like you have a regular fuck boy who's like, hey, I'm a boy who wants to fuck and I don't want a relationship. Are you down for that? But then like a nice fuck boy is like, hey, I'm gonna treat you like we're in a relationship, but I don't want to put a label on it. Are you okay with that? And then it's like, what? Okay, I guess that's nice, but you're still a fuck boy.
Yeah.
So like kind of having that element is like fun, but then like, and then it's like, oh, it could make it a sketch, but then it's like it's more fun in stand-up because then I can just keep going and going from there. But
I feel like that, like, I mean, I do quite a few characters. I do my mom and my dad and I do the guy at the gas station, and I feel like they all work because people laugh at them, and I feel like it's really like it's similar to what you do in speech. It's just like changing your physicality and changing the tone of your voice, and then going back to how you stand as Beckett, how you stand as Becca, and talking,
doing a pop.
It's the pop. It's a pop.
Remember the pops? I remember pops.
Oh my god! Like, so I have such a funny story about like speech. So there's one moment in speech where I was like watching an HI round. It was like finals or whatever, which is like the final round. So all the best people are there.
Yeah.
And this guy starts getting a nosebleed while he's performing.
No.
Doesn't stop, is bleeding onto the ground.
You're
like, just
kidding.
Has a pool of blood, and he's popping his feet in and out of the
blood?
And just like making like a blood like snowflake or whatever, like angel, like a blood angel, like with his like feet, you know what I'm saying? And then like from there, and then he like finished it, and then he like cleaned it up. But I was like, you know what, if I was him, I would have stopped and be like, can I stop please? And then it'd be like, all right, like I'm gonna like clean this up and figure out the nosebleed. And then but he was so committed. Like I think we're told like in theater or like speech team, like the show must
go on.
That's so, but he's like bleeding on his feet. Like it was a lot of blood.
It
was a lot of blood.
I have a joke about like how like
the show must
go on and like and kind of just like I think that's like how that's kind of like a ridiculous idea, but like I remember there was this story that people used to tell. We had traditions like with like our high school theater where like before we had like some of them are really problematic in hindsight. Like I think I've said this on the podcast before maybe. But like we had pinch day, slap day, and grab day, which is like it would be like dress rehearsal into like the first day of the show, and one day everyone pinched each other's butts, one day everybody grabbed each other's butts, and one day everybody slapped each other's butts. For the most part,
you just unlocked a core memory. We did that too.
You did that too? Are you serious?
Yeah,
I've never heard of this.
I cannot believe you guys did that too. Literally every time it ended, there was like a girl who was crying, and in hindsight now, like we definitely should not have been doing that. I mean, a lot of people really were just like having fun with it and like didn't have a problem, but like somebody always took it too far.
I was too gross. No, yeah, that I think you just like unlocked a core. I was like, oh my god, that happened, and I probably was like real crying one time. But before you do your thing, I really quickly wanted to say as well, when I was an undergrad during Tech Week, we would always have whatever show I was on, the main stage shows, we would always do storming the dressing room. So it would be like the girls in their underwear would go into the guys' dressing room with like a war chant cheer that we would come up with for whatever that show was, and then like on a different day the guys would storm the girls' dressing room in their underwear, like and I don't know why we did that. It's so problematic and weird.
So much of them don't. I remember that Tech also had a separate group of like traditions that they did where the cast would do one and the Tech would do another one. And one of Tech's was that like the Tech slut has to put on black lipstick and kiss everybody on the cheek. And I mean, like usually the girl who like was it like wanted to be like the cast slut, you know, like that was like that was like that was like
I mean, it's only the techie that does that though.
That's only a techie tradition. Okay. We had like one where we would get like somebody would make a rum cake and everyone would take a pinch before they went on stage. But the tradition one of the traditions I got was, I also got one tradition that was, I was like, the drama mama. The drama mama, I was the first person in history to have gotten that tradition. It just was like a title, basically. It was somebody who like was like the kind of like maternal, like, but it was meant for black women. Like I was the first person who was not a black woman who got that, and then I gave it to a black woman afterwards because, you know, that was also very problematic. And then one of them, so this is the show must go on. We had this like school, like a theater ghost named Jimmy, I believed. And
every theater has a ghost.
Yes, every theater has a ghost. And the story with this one was, like a long time ago, there was like a place where the light booth was in the theater, and like Jimmy was going to be in the stage crew because he had a crush on the girl who was like the lead in all the musicals, and she was like, he was obsessed with her, and like her big number came up like of opening night of the show, and Jimmy was doing the spotlight, and the stage, there was a huge storm that night, and like the way that like the electricity was set up and like the tech was set up, it was fucked up and like very dangerous. And so lightning struck while like she was like singing her big number, but Jimmy kept the light on her the whole time and then died. And that was like our story, and that was like supposed to be an inspiring story, which now in hindsight I'm like that was so fucking dumb. like he couldn't stop Adelaide's lament to fucking like save himself from getting burned. Like he doesn't even get the girl. Like they're like why would that be inspiring to us? Yeah, like that's psycho. But I remember like that was like. And senior hugs, that was a tradition where like a senior would give a sad speech and then hug everybody.
Oh.
That's so mean. I don't mean to laugh, but that's mean to laugh. That's mean to laugh. That's mean to laugh. We just give a speech and then hug everybody. Like, I normally wouldn't hug you peasants, but today.
No. It was supposed to be like your goodbye. So before the final show, you'd be like,
that's nice.
You'd be like, I like really had such a great time. And then you'd get like emotional and cry, and like everyone would hug you. And yeah, that was nice. Okay. There were a lot of really fun ones, and like, but some of them definitely were problematic in hindsight, and I wonder how much of that has like stuck around. I feel like so many things that just were happening forever stopped at COVID, like 2020 and COVID.
I was gonna say, do you know the musical All Shook Up? Are you familiar with the characters?
That was our freshman year of high school.
Okay.
We did All Shook Up, and then the community theater also did All Shook Up. And the show is about like segregation partially. Sorry, really quickly. The community theater didn't have enough black people to make it about segregation, so they made it about poor people and rich people. And I was more problematic community theater bullshit. Anyway, I played Dennis.
Is Dennis the guy who owns the hotel? Or the main guy? Which one's Dennis?
Dennis doesn't.
I know which one you're talking about.
The nerd one who's in love with.
Yes. I played the black mother.
Oh.
Yeah.
I played the black mother.
Sylvia?
Yeah.
But you you didn't do blackface.
So. No, I was white. Yeah. And the story was like, we only, this is so fucked up. There's only one black girl in my school, and she was biracial, and so she played the daughter. We found out that she was teen pregnant during the show when I went to zip her dress and it wouldn't zip.
Oh my god!
I was the first person to find out that she was teen pregnant because I couldn't zip her into her dress, and she was playing my daughter.
Teen pregnant instead of just
teen pregnant.
Because it was, she was teen pregnant.
She was teen pregnant.
She was teen pregnant, and it was a big secret, and nobody knew except for me. And I was sworn to secrecy, and it was probably the only secret that I've ever effectively kept because my face gives away everything. Mm-hmm. But I remember the logic is they were like, oh well, you can be her mom, and it'll just be that like her father is a black man and he like ran out on you. And I was like, I don't think that is good. A good choice. But that's what we did, and I played the mom that is absolutely supposed to be a black woman.
Yeah, we had Latasia played that character for us, and she was so good. She has such a beautiful voice. That song, that's a really good song. That's like one of my favorite musicals just because of the nostalgia, and that was the best musical we ever did, and it like made me like and also It Hurts Me. That's the musical I got called a faggot during on stage. We were doing like a preview for like the school, and like somebody yelled at it during like Can't Help Falling in Love. And but overall good memories from that show. But yeah, like we luckily, like Richwoods had enough like black people to like actually do the story how it should be told. But like but the community theater did it, and they didn't have any black people who auditioned, or probably didn't try to outreach to black people either, I'm sure. Yeah. And so it was poor people versus like rich people, which
it works, but it doesn't.
Especially because not in like terms of like segregation, it doesn't work. You know what I mean? Like,
no, absolutely. And it's like, it was hard for us to do a show hinged on segregation with one black girl. That was not. Yeah. That was not what it's supposed to be. Yeah. And I also feel like the only other thing I would add is it's like,
wait, did she do the show pregnant?
Yeah.
Did she end up having
Ali Wong?
She had the kid, yeah. She had the kid. Ali Wong. Rihanna in the building. Rihanna. No, she did the show. I think she was only like 1 or 2 months pregnant though. It was enough that it was like she wasn't showing yet, but it was like her dress didn't fit anymore. And so I was like pinning it. And I remember the drama teacher was like, or the costumer was like commenting on the pins, and I was just looking at her like, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. And then like obviously she became very pregnant, and everybody knew, like, I think probably a month later, it was like, oh, that's why. Because, it was like a very, like, I don't mean to be, but the girl who helped with the costumes, she was just like a very, like, say things that are obvious, narky vibe. And I get it. I can be that vibe too, but I was just like, girl, if you don't shut the fuck up, we're not letting anybody find out about this pregnancy this early. Because, but no, yeah, I think she had the kid. I honestly think her family runs like I'm pretty sure they in my hometown run like either like a hot dog or like a soul food or rib restaurant. It's like I ate there. It was good. I don't remember what food it was, though. I'm so sorry. If you're listening, I'm not going to say your name because I don't want to call you out like that for all the high school stuff. But the food was good.
The food was good.
The food was good.
And at the end of the day, the food just
at the end of the day,
good. You know,
end of the day, team.
Did you ever do theater or musicals?
So I didn't really have time like doing speech team.
Yeah.
And all that because usually like they would overlap like schedule wise. But Were you like a super intense student or like? Yeah, like I tried to do AP classes. And all that, but I did Alice in Wonderland, and
who were you in that?
So I played the number 7 card and the and the cook. So I would just say Pepper. It was really easy, but I was like one of 2 people where we were like multiple characters.
Yeah.
And so when we had we had our changes backstage, we were like, oh, look at us, we're getting changed backstage, and like I don't know, it was the whole thing.
That you guys have just brought up 2 of the most pivotal musicals of my life, which are All Shook Up, which was my freshman year of high school. That show was memorable to me because my mom told me after she saw me in that, she was like I actually like think that you could be like a performer, like, you know what I mean, like she's like I've seen you like in a lot of plays before and like always thought you were really good, but I've never thought that you were like, you know,
star
like
material,
gonna like enough to like make it. And then so that was, and also that was just my freshman year. It was the best musical we ever did. We had the most fun doing that musical. Also, you know, I was cast as a freshman, and that was like cast as a freshman controversial. But 2, the first musical I ever did was Alice in Wonderland, and at Washington Middle School, and I was the White Rabbit.
Nice.
That fits for you. I love that. That's
I was
fun.
late to my number. I'm late several times because like they had this moment where like all the cast would like be in the opening first, so that like the idea is like, you know, like how in Wizard of Oz you meet like the lion and the like Tin Man and like the Scarecrow before, when they're just normal people and then they're a part of, you know, Dorothy's fantasy. Like we did that, and so like I was in the opening number, and then I'm late is like a really quick turnaround, and I had to do a quick change, and I was late a few times.
I was realizing as you were talking about Alice in Wonderland, I was like, I don't think I've ever done, and then I went, oh yeah, because when I first moved to Chicago, I got cast in this like children's theater touring production of Alice in Wonderland, and I played Jessie the Cheshire Cat with like a Jersey accent, and I had a little bob, and I was like, you gotta get it together, girl. They're good. Like it was not it. I
love how we are just like.
Did the director tell you to do that, though?
Yeah, the director was like, I need you to do a Jersey accent. I was like, I don't think I can. And then I was just doing this bad New Jersey accent.
Oh, no.
Like I don't even think I could imitate what I was doing because I've not acted in so long. But it was like, it's like I tried to do like how they talk in Grease, the musical.
Oh yeah,
it was like that.
Like
it was just like it was like, oh, Kaniki, da da da. It was like, Alice, you gotta. I can't find that place in my voice anymore.
Is there a more fun name to say than Kaniki?
No.
It's so
Hickey from Kaniki.
Kaniki, yeah.
No, yeah, I talked. Now I'm finding it again. I talked like this the whole show, and it didn't feel very Cheshire Cat to me. I didn't understand why this was the choice they wanted me to make for an hour. But the kids did love me. They did all come take pictures with me in my little bob with my little cheetah print. It was like a onesie type of deal. So yeah, that was my experience working on Alice in Wonderland, the timeless classic.
Alice in Onesie Land.
Onesie Land.
Yeah, I don't really do like I didn't do a lot of theater, but like, yeah, speech team, improv, and stand up.
Love.
Yeah.
I feel like speech team actually for like stand up and like sketch and stuff in some ways is more useful and like similar to like what you would do in like stand up and like in the comedy scene like in Chicago. Because I feel like writing an OC is very similar to like writing sketches, and you have to like learn to think on your feet and like project, and like you're often the only one on stage. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, like, we all don't have stage fright here, right?
Yeah. No. No.
Like, stage fright who?
Yeah. It'll hit me randomly.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Sometimes right before I go on, I do get anxious.
Yeah.
So I'll often though I'll like be performing for like huge audiences and not even think about it. But like it really, sometimes all of a sudden I'll be like, what are you doing? You can't do this. And like, I was nervous to do 20 minutes a little bit.
You did so great. You literally got lit and you were like, oh my God, it's time. Because you were doing the crowd work. You were working the room.
I wasn't like, I just like, I've done 20 minutes a lot before actually, but like I hadn't in a long time, and I was like, can I do this? I'm like this is I'm like one of the worst feelings is being on stage as a stand-up and like not knowing how much longer you have, and like it's a longer set. And you being like, I don't have any material. And then like, if the crowd work, if you don't have like the access to the crowd work, or maybe you've already done all your crowd work too, and now it feels weird to go back in. Yeah. Like it like that is one of the scariest feelings. And also like, yeah, I remember too, like thinking like, I asked her to light me at 18 originally. But then then I had her light me at 5, and then I was like, I don't know how to estimate 5 minutes on stage. I have no idea what 5 minutes feels like on stage in like a 20-minute set. You know what I mean? Anyway,
I mean, I feel like it's like for that. I feel like 1 or 2 is like if you're just talking at the end, it makes sense. The only reason I usually ask for 5 is like if I get 5, it's like one more joke and then my last song. Because that's like 2, 3. I don't know if I was just talking if I could feel out 5. I really don't think I could. Yeah. I think it would need to be 2, 1 or 2.
It also can really feel different from like audience to audience, because this time like it did not feel like 20 minutes at all. It literally felt like I was on there for 5 minutes by the time that they let me. But like sometimes it feels like you're like you feel the length quite a bit.
Yeah. I definitely feel like stage time when I do like improv, like that's probably the time that I feel it the most, because like, I don't know about you, but like with stand up, sometimes if I'm like trying to like make it fit like in a time period, I'll just like record myself and see like how much time it actually is.
I should do that, or just like look at my phone.
Or time yourself like or record it like when you're practicing it or whatever, or on doing an open mic. But with like improv, it's like hard because you just don't know, and we get the light too for like the improv show that like I do. So we get the light, and then we get the light again if it's like past like 25 minutes or whatever. Oh gosh, okay. But yeah, like I feel like the light is everything, because that'll definitely lead you to be like, okay, I think we're towards the end.
Yeah, let's wrap it up.
I feel like the light does help, but and then with sketch though, like we have to like time stuff out like for sketch shows, and then that way we stay like within the hour with that. But yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I mean, you just don't want to like trap people. Right. Like when you're like trying to finish something, you're like, I just don't know how to finish this. Like I just gotta end at some point.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I'll just put a button and then that's it. Okay.
Yeah. I remember in my speech state final, because of like the reactions and stuff, I like was going longer than I normally would in the speech, and I got like the hand at a point that I knew was like,
oh my god,
because you remember they used to give like the hand in like speech, which was basically the same thing as the light. Like you hit like 1 minute, you like have 1 minute left to wrap up, and I remember I like found a new ending for my speech, like in the because I was like, I feel like I'm murdering. I don't want to get like a time penalty, because that'll literally take me down a rank. It is also funny too, because I feel like I remember like somebody was saying like in stand up. I took like a stand up class when I went to Columbia for like that was one of the even though I'd already been doing stand-up for a while and I felt pretty confident about it, I was like, well, this will be an easy. But I remember them talking about like, you need to know like the amount of time you're doing, and I'm like, that's so not true. I'm like, you get the light, like you need to know how to wrap up from the light, but like you and you do want to have a good sense of like your time, but like you don't need it that much.
Yeah, I think it's like, honestly, I wish more venues would do like, one thing that they had at NACA that I loved is they have a clock and it's 10 minutes and you can see it counting down in front of you. I think if more venues had clocks, digital clocks actively counting down your time, then it's like you can physically see in front of you when you have 2 minutes left and you like can go in the, I just think it's something that's seems like such an easy solution that I wish more venues did, because it's like a light, it's like you said, a lot of us don't have a great sense of time. We're creative people. It's just not something, I mean, I can speak for myself, it's something I don't have. I love venues that have that. It's so helpful, because the light, it tells me I have 2 minutes left, but I have no fucking idea. I have no concept of 2 minutes, because I'm an idiot unless I time it, which I do.
A huge symptom of ADHD is time blindness, and like it's like the inability to like sense the amount of time you're doing something, which is why you'll be like invested in something and all of a sudden you'll look around and you're like, I've been doing this for 6 hours, or like you'll be like, oh my God, like I have to do that, like I have to leave right now. Do you have ADHD at all?
I have ADD, like self-diagnosed.
Slay. I have self-diagnosed obsessive compulsive disorder. So I'm fairly certain though. What's everyone self-diagnosed themselves with in this room? Here's something I diagnosed myself with at one point that I do not think is true. I thought I had borderline personality disorder for a second, but that's definitely, in hindsight, I don't.
Like I know people with borderline, and you don't have.
That's what like every single person told me. They're like whenever
like
I told
you can
somebody,
have a couple, like you experience depression and like you experience this or that, but like in order for borderline, like a full diagnosis, you need like all of this.
Well, somebody described, I like read online like something that was describing like borderline personality disorder symptoms, and they talked about how like you're just super sensitive to everything, and like that really resonated with me, and I'm like, I but also ADHD has a lot of emotional components that people that are like left untalked about, that like lead to you like rejection sensitivity, and like like being hyper emotional, not being able to like emotionally regulate either. And I think that that's maybe more what I was thinking. It was also like over the pandemic when I was like the very early beginning of the like when we were getting locked down, where I was like, you know, like buzzy buzz in the head, you know, do you remember like that moment during the pandemic when you're like, I don't know when this is gonna be over?
I think at the end of 2020. Because for me, I was like, I feel like it's almost been a calendar year. There's no way this is still going on. And it felt like it was not going to end.
It felt like forever. It felt like it was never going to end. And
wait, when was the time for you over? Though?
It was super early on for me, where I was like, I like it was in the first few weeks, and I'm like, wait, we don't really have a path out of this. Like we kind of have to hope for a vaccine. I did not realize how bad the vaccine like debacle would be. I don't think I realized how that would go.
I mean, I didn't realize either, and I feel like I just like, it feels like as much as it's cheesy to be like, Taylor can't come to the phone because she's dead. I feel like this like version of me from before the pandemic like literally died, because it was just like I had to kill her to cope with not being able to do any of the fucking things I wanted to be doing. You know what I mean? And then it was like I sort of like, I mean, it was one of the most because I have like severe depression, anxiety, like diagnosed, and so it's like I'm somebody also who like, I am sensitive and I am emotional, but I have a tendency to like, I will hold everything very close to my chest because I don't want to burden those around me. And so it's like when I'm in a situation where I actively can't go see any of the people I love and care about, and I'm somebody who doesn't feel comfortable being like, hey, I'm not good. I was like really, really not good. And I'm grateful that when I did get COVID, I didn't get super sick. I didn't die. Nobody close to me passed away from it. So it's like, I can't imagine what that entire experience was like for people who also had to live through losing somebody. But it was like, for me, it was just to be so isolated, and also generally be somebody who tends to self-isolate. I really kind of had to force myself to, like, I think after the first 6 months, I was like, okay, Jamie, we gotta start talking to people. Like, we can't just like hold all this inside. Like, we gotta let it out. So I don't know if anybody else experienced that, or if you guys are emotionally open and vulnerable naturally. That would be pretty cool for you. I hope that's the case.
Mental turmoil runs in my family. So
my great grandpa. Okay, back to being dark.
And we're back.
He killed himself by drinking acid.
Oh my God.
Where do you get acid?
I don't know. I feel like there was around the time they were inventing all these like nuclear stuff. And I feel like you could just go and like, oh, there's that tub of nuclear waste on the street. I feel like maybe that's what it was. Like, he worked for a train. He worked for like on trains or something, and so I don't know how that works, but I mean, he maybe found one of the things that like that was in like that train derailment. Which whatever happened with that? Did we ever figure it out?
It's like the same thing with Ukraine. Like I've seen the people in my neighborhood that put up the flags. Just after time, they're like, "It's still going on. Okay, I guess we'll take the flag off."
Yeah. That was like I remember like when like the big like Black Lives Matters like protest was going on. There was like a long period of time where social media was just like it felt insane to post about anything other than that. Yeah. And I remember being like, I wonder who the first person is to like gonna like take a selfie and just like I wonder who that person is going to be. You know, I was like, how did that transition out of that happen? Sometimes like it is like you're like for a long time I had a phone screen with like my dog who passed on it, and I just didn't feel like like taking it down for forever, and it you know, now I finally have a different phone like background, but I'm like it's sometimes it's really weird to you're like you set up these things to like project, and you're like, how do I get this down in a respectful way? Like,
it is.
Yeah, I mean, like I think it's like healing, right? Like, and then acceptance, and then like it's part like grief too, and then once you accept, then it's like you move on. In the same way, like grieving that there can't be like a world war happening, and then like you're like we support Ukraine, and then it's just been like, I support, but I'm just gonna take the flag down, like kind of thing. But you're saying.
I mean, I was just saying that it's about time for us to wrap up. But I also feel with BLM, I think it's the kind of thing where it's like, and Ukraine, both things. It's like it hasn't stopped, but it's like with BLM, it was such because we were all so isolated in our thing, and we were all on our phones. We all witnessed something simultaneously that we wouldn't, because like if it was regular times, some people would be at work, some people would be people would be commuting, it's easier, and it's easier now that we're back outside and we're like all going about our day-to-day lives. For like when other things like this happen, it just to go over your head. And it's I think it's a balance of like, you're only one person, you can only do so much. We all like have to protect our peace and heal and be happy, but also just like staying aware of what's happening. I feel like it's a huge part of it. Not getting so sucked into, I think it's so easy to lose the trees in the forest. Yeah. Because we get so caught up in our own shit that we're not looking at the big picture. But it's about that time for the song.
Oh my gosh, Becca is going to be on the other side of the song for once?
I'm gonna hit play.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna run back.
Okay.
And also, Becca played this, and I'm ADD, so I don't remember what it was at all. So it is going to be completely new for us at home. I don't want you guys to think that we rehearsed this. This is improvised as always. All right.
Okay. After some changes, we are now ready to do a song with Becca on accompaniment and singing at the same time. What can't you do? Okay. Let's begin.
We'd be nothing without Becca. We literally would be nothing without Becca.
We'd be nothing without Becca. We would literally be nothing without Becca. We'd be nothing without Becca, that's for sure.
For sure. We couldn't do this.
Becca adds so much to this podcast, from the ceiling to the floor. Becca, thank you for being here. I was scared to have somebody with a name so similar to me. Also on the podcast, I thought that might be confusing, but what I'm not confused about is our love of Becca Nix Tham, accompanist. Thank you, Becca, we'd be nothing without you.
I'm just Becca, and I'm the one that everyone's singing about. Yeah, I walk around like I've got some kind of clout. Yeah, I know I seem like I can do a lot of different things at the same time, but I gotta tell you, it's a little difficult to keep up with the time and rhyme, yeah. My name is Becca, and this podcast couldn't happen without me. My name is Becca, and I think that everyone's funny on this pod.
On this pod.
On this pod.
On this pod. From the window to the wall, from the ceiling to the floor. If we didn't have Becca, we would be no more. From the window to the wall, to the ceiling to the floor.
For without Becca, we would be no more.
We need Becca.
And
we'd literally be nothing without you.
And Logan Square.
Becca Nix. Damn.
We love you. We love you. We love you. Becca.
Thank you to Becca for not only being our accompanist, but our special guest, to Christine Ferrera, who may be in the shot for once as well.
And we'll be on very soon. We're going to have her as a guest very, very soon. Please
like and follow. And thank you to Lincoln Lodge for having us. It's been The Big Finish. Bye.
Bye.
This is The Big Finish at Lincoln Lodge. We're about to get it on the show. So come on, everybody, and get the show on the road.
Let's get it on the road.